I've been wondering lately about what new horror movies that we may have that may strike a little fear in the everyday things that you come across. Jaws made you afraid to go in the water, Freddy made you afraid to go to sleep, and Jason made you afraid to do a little freaky deaky in the woods. So, what is Megan gonna bring to the horror genre? Welcome to another episode of the Popcorn Confessional, and this is Dave from Nerdbox, and I'm accompanied by my wife Jenn, also from Nerdbox. And on this episode, we are talking about M3GAN. So fire up that Jiffy Pop and meet us in the booth.
This is Brian O'Halloran, and you're watching the Popcorn Confessional on the Nerdbox. Sounds like a porn site.
When Gemma becomes the unexpected caretaker of her 8-year-old niece, Katie, after a tragic accident, she decides to give her a prototype android, M3GAN, built to be a child's greatest companion and her company's next hottest selling toy. Only when M3GAN begins to adapt her AI with real-life scenarios, it leads to deadly consequences.
Now, when we first saw the trailer, we actually talked about this in one of our news videos, and we were at the time, it's like, jury's out. Don't know if it's going to be, we're sold on it, don't know if it's, going to be a piece of crap, but I was pleasantly surprised.
As was I. And actually, when I checked us in at the theater tonight, my tagline was, "Hope this doesn't suck, ...
If you were to take Ultron, and you take 2019 Chucky, and you kind of merge them together, that's kind of what you get to play out in this story a little bit. Because it's a movie that's going to make you think about that Alexa or Siri or those electronic devices that you have in the house and how much time you interact with them.
Well, and they already do weird things, and they start talking to you when you don't invite them to talk to you. Siri constantly talks to me unsolicited, and Alexa started rapping for you, so... Yeah, and when we had Google Home, that was constantly playing music when your mom would watch the kids.
Mm-hmm. Now, this isn't all about AI, but it does make you think about that type of things, because here, like Frankenstein...
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! In the name of God! Now I know what it feels like to be God!
You have a scientist that is trying to play God and makes this robot, M3GAN, who is going to be a companion that sounds like a pretty awesome idea. It can help with learning disabilities that kids have, it can be a companion, it can do all these wonderful things, but as the movie goes along, there's a psychiatrist or a therapist that's involved in the film that you don't like her, but she makes some really good points.
Yeah, I really didn't like her. She was super annoying and very judgy. But she did make some good points about, the psychology of a child. And hey, listen, they're still young and their brains are still forming. And then you're having this doll essentially, just take the place of the parents.
Mm-hmm. Now, M3GAN brings a lot of cool different elements to the screen, too. There's a little bit of a slasher in there. There's even some of the James Wan influenced paranormal stuff in there that I'm not going to spoil it, but you'll see that arise in the third act.
I do think they could have gotten into the M3GAN part of it a little quicker. I wish that they had. They did spend a little more time on kind of the story and building it up. I think more than they could have, or they could have intermingled it. They could have brought M3GAN in and still kind of been hitting the backstory or the intricacies while they were having the psychoness go on.
Yeah, the story in the beginning of it is probably a little bit too long. It almost reminds me of something that you would see as a prequel to a movie that already came out. It's all right, let's establish a character in a movie, and then a couple movies down the line, we'll tell you about her backstory. But you get the backstory in the beginning of the movie, but then once M3GAN goes full psycho in this, it's pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, and this isn't just straight horror. It's horror comedy. Mm-hmm. I definitely laughed probably more than I should have at what this freaking thing was doing. But even the one, the one cop, a kid's dead, and he's he's like, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing. Wow, dude. Okay.
Well, this is something that I learned back in, the English classes that I took on literature and stuff like that. You have to break the tension up sometimes by throwing in some comedic elements, which were done perfectly in this.
Okay, well, that may be true. When you're a detective investigating the death of a child, it's probably not the best time to throw a laugh
He ain't
in.
a real-life detective. He's a movie detective.
Oh.
He was there to make us laugh at the inappropriate time, which was perfectly placed.
Well, the first thing I said is, why is that guy laughing? And then he literally, right afterwards, he goes, I'm sorry, I should have laughed.
That is smart writing, because he's laughing and then he addresses it. It's almost kind of meta. Like, you asked that question.
Me. Yeah.
And then
I asked a question and he answered it.
Now, this is from the writer Keila Cooper, who did Hellfest, which is very good. Did Malignant, which you will like one day. And now this gives me hope for The Nun 2.
I did love Hellfest, though. So I was actually really surprised when I heard that this was the writer behind Hellfest. I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Katie in this was really good.
Violet McGraw. So we've seen her in a couple of movies.
Oh,
now.
yeah, we have. Of course, Allison Williams, you would know her from movies such as Get Out.
Very good start to the horror year. We've been going to the movies weekly, except for when they were closed, for 5, 6, 7 years now. I don't know. It's been a long time.
I think it's going into our 7th year now.
And you're always able to, well, at least that's what we've determined. We're always able to tell how good the movie year is going to be by January and February, which is usually Hollywood's dumping grounds. Like, oh, let's just throw it out there. But if you get some good quality films that come out in January and February, then the whole year is looking pretty good. M3GAN. It is PG-13.
It is, and you can tell where they kind of strapped some stuff, like, to make it PG-13, because they do want kids to watch it, though I think kids watch freaking rated R all the time now. I don't think parents care so much, but I think they did a good job with the PG-13. Even though they kind of, like, took a couple of scenes and made them, like, say, less gruesome, you still got the point.
Yeah.
You knew what happened.
As we say, you don't always have to have blood in the film to make it really good.
No, you don't.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, no blood.
Yeah.
And it scares the hell out of people.
Overall, it's a fun watch.
Yes. Now, the one thing that I was concerned about and our daughters were concerned about was the dancing. The dancing is not all throughout the movie.
No.
Though there is some singing that kind of reminds me of a Disney film. But the dancing makes sense when it happens. And it's a part of a really cool scene.
The singing makes sense too, which, like, because she sings a song like, she says, I am titanium. So, I mean, like, she's just kind of, like, talking about herself, really. But it made sense. And the dancing did make sense, and it wasn't as, like, weird as it came across in the trailer, I think. It fit into the scene, which was good. And I know, like, the thing that threw me off in the trailer when they played it was that she looked like she was, like, like rubbery or whatever, which, I mean, in a sense she is and isn't. But it didn't really look like that when it actually happened.
This falls perfectly with the 5 movies that we chose recently on the Pop 5 of doll movies that are out there. Because it's not just doll movies that sit there and don't do nothing. She actually gets up, she kills people. It's not like Annabelle and Brahms.
Yeah, and she's got some snarky remarks that come out of her mouth, and she's creepy.
It's a good time. It's a good time. It's a good horror movie. It has good slasher elements. Like I said, it has some paranormal aspects, plus James Wan involved with it as well. So it hits on a lot of things. Yeah,
and there are some jump scenes too. And not because they're, like, super scary, it's just, like, the way it hits you.
That's the one thing that I took a note while watching the movie. The jump scenes aren't like the typical horror jump scenes where it's loud noise.
Yeah.
No, they're placed and done very well.
They are. Yeah, it's definitely like there's a reason why you're jumping when it happens, and it was done really well. So kudos to James Wan.
Yeah, and the director had done Housebound, so this was in very good hands, writing wise, directing wise, and with James Wan, you can see his influence in there as well. So it's taken care of. You're going to enjoy it. What do you rate it?
I'd go see it again.
Yeah, I'd go see it again too. Like, in the beginning, I was like, oh, this is too slow. I don't think I would see this again. I buy it. And then when we get into the final part, I was like, yeah, this is worth watching again. Yeah,
definitely. I felt the same way too. I was like, oh man, I was like, I don't know. I'm hoping that, like, I wasn't right. And I wasn't. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, the one thing that I liked about the movie too is that there was suspense. I was always interested in seeing where it was going.
Yeah.
And that's always a bonus. Like, even when it was slow, I was like, oh, okay, can we speed it up? I was like, all right, so what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? So
yeah. And there was a pretty packed theater, and it was decent amount of people there. So, and there was a lot of, like, fan reaction, which was really cool. Like, we were all kind of like at different spots. We're like, oh damn, did they really just do that? So yeah, there was a lot of like audience interaction, which is always a great thing.
Anyway, don't forget it is the quest for 5,000 subscribers, and you can help us get there by
liking, subscribing, and sharing.
Yes, and we are about to change the rules, and we'll do it with this video as well. Every video that gets 25 likes and 25 comments, you will have a chance to win a prize. And we'll do that giveaway up until 100 likes and 100 comments, then we'll give away a one-sheet poster from the theater, which is pretty cool. Now, once we hit 5,000 subscribers, and if you've done the liking and the commenting, you'll have a chance to win this box of Strawberries and Scream cereal signed by
Matthew Lillard and David Arquette, which is pretty awesome.
Yes. It'd be pretty cool if we can hit 5,000 during Scream Month in February or after Scream 6 drops in March.
That would be really awesome
Just
if we could
the
do that.
perfect time to give it away. And if there's Scream posters at the theater,
there will be.
Now that I know that I can take more than one without being like, oh my god, that guy's greedy, I'm going to take them all, and then I'll make sure that I get those out as prizes.
Are you kidding me? The people that work at the theater know what we order every time we go in, and they have posters waiting for us. They're like, you can take whatever you want to. That's probably an indication we spend too much time in the theater. But I feel like it's never enough time. I love the theater.
Anyways, until the next Popcorn Confessional, see ya.